G'day. It's time to down your unders. Review and dissection of content from some of the sharpest minds in the game. Hosted by Adam Camilleri. Art of War. Down Under.
G'day everyone and welcome back to Art of War Down Under. This is the episode I'm doing after I've gotten back from Canada, and I'll be continuing my review of the 3 new detachments that we got in the latest MFM and Balance slate. I've also recorded a new part 3, compliant with NDAs this time, for people over on the Patreon, going through my thoughts on the Imperial Knights changes and also my current concepts for Chaos Knights as they have evolved quite a lot. And I did a lot of brewing on my way to Canada and back on what I wanted to play and how and list construction and such. So come over and join us over there. In addition, of course, we're going to have part 2 of this podcast, this episode at Art of War Down Under over on Patreon. Hope you will join us there. Now, I'm joined by an unusual guest in the realms of the Rock. Because we're going to be reviewing the Wrath of the Rock detachment that came out for Dark Angels. Now, I'm pretty much taking on the expert role here, but I've pulled in a First Legion curious lad who reached out to me and said he wanted to play these guys for an upcoming team event. So me and him have teamed up on this one. You may have heard of him before on many an episode. He's done a lot of the Tyranid and the Grey Knight content with me. His name is Stuart Trainer, or Vandalex. Hello, how you doing, brother?
It's great to be here, Adam, and I'm a fresh initiate into the inner circle, and I'm very excited to talk about and learn from a master of the Dark Angels.
Yeah, because you've played against me playing Dark Angels like probably 100 times.
Yeah, countless times.
And I suppose this would be a good, because you're going to have that side of the street covered. I've got the Dark Angels player covered, and in addition, you're wanting to learn more about Dark Angels. This is like match made in heaven. The detachment has been out for a little while. I understand you've played a couple of games with it.
Yeah, I played it just well, I'd love to have played more games with it for this, but I've still got a few games under my belt. I think it's a really interesting detachment, especially in the teams format. So, even just keen to talk about my experience with it as well.
Hell yeah. Well, when I saw this, because naturally I got this a little bit earlier than everybody else, I was like, have they lost their freaking minds? Because why are they bringing back another, because the first thing that came to my mind was transhuman physiology, which was the you could not be wounded on better than a 4+, which was the previous.
Times of 9th edition.
It was revolting. Yeah. Essentially, it was the Awakened Dynasty of 9th edition.
Yeah, it was, actually, yeah.
It was the unkillable, bus stop. I'm going to sit on the objectives. You can't really do anything about it list. And Wrath of the Rock is pretty much in a similar vein. So I'm straight up. I'm of the opinion this detachment's too good as the Dark Angels player, because I'm a bit annoyed that this invalidates so many of our other ones. I'm of the opinion this is the best Deathwing detachment. This is the best Greenwing detachment. This is not far off being the best Ravenwing detachment. And that's kind of infuriating. Yeah. How do you feel? Does that line up with your thoughts as well?
Yeah, I mean, immediately when the slate was revealed and we got a good picture of the 3 new detachments, straight away, I really thought the Dark Angels detachment was probably going to be the strongest. Just because, again, the way the meta was heading already with sort of the rise of these chaos armies, it really felt like a meta of you have to either be really good at killing things or you have to be really durable.
Yeah,
and
correct.
This just leans into that durability on data sheets that are already really tough. And now you're adding another layer of toughness to them. So many armies are going to struggle with this.
I love that you said that, because it was so interesting to see the meta unfolding around Ynnari. And then as the Chaos Legion codexes started to come in, Ynnari was already almost in meta free fall as far as me personally as an analyst and somebody who tracks tournament wins and stuff like that. It was just they almost just completely deleted Ynnari from the top of the meta. Because they could not kill Death Guard, and then Death Guard, everything in Death Guard is good for killing 2 to 3 Ynnari units a turn. Emperor's Children is even worse. And T-Sons is kind of just as bad. And so they were already getting pushed out. So World Eaters is terrible too. They were kind of getting pushed out already, and then they just got freefall dumpstered. So the meta was already turning against MSU as it was, and then But I absolutely agree with you. The meta exists at two complete polarities now. You need to be ultra durable or ultra lethal, and some armies get to do both. And I got to say, Wrath of the Rock probably, in my opinion, gets to do more durable than damage. But because of the data sheets you're incentivized to use, your Marines with Oath of Moment, you still have plenty of damage, right?
Yeah, and also the range of data sheets too. Like this is applicable to every unit in Dark Angels and Space Marines, and you're going to be happy to have it in every instance.
All right, the detachment rule is dutiful tenacity. Each time an attack targets an Adeptus Astartes infantry or Adeptus Astartes mounted unit from your army, if the strength is higher than the toughness, -1 to wound. So the highest toughness you can get on a infantry or mounted is a Gravis armor toughness of 6. Yep. That's correct, yeah?
Yeah, correct.
Although, sorry, Centurions.
Oh, of course, yeah. That's my mind completely. Yeah.
Never heard of him. Not going to take him in this, but it doesn't matter. They can't move. They don't have legs. But yeah, toughness 6 is the most likely one you're going to see. So you have to be what? Strength 13 or strength 7 with +1 to wound to not be wounding on 4s.
Otherwise, it's strength 12 will do it because you're double. But you need to be correct. Either strength 7 with +1 to wound or strength 12 to be wounding on
wild scenes. So for the most people out there, it is just wound me on 4s, which is buck wild. Have you had this come up much? Like, are you seeing just profiles out there that are getting nuked by this ability?
I felt like it'd be relevant in a lot of games, especially just with there's a lot of strength 6 or strength 7 combat out into the game. Which is where I find this really shines. So, you're being charged into either I've been spamming a lot of toughness 5 because spoiler, Deathwing Knights are good still. And T6 Gravis bodies. And suddenly when you shift the mass from winning on 3s to winning on 4s, it just, we all know, we all play the game. Rolling 4-ups can be one of the swingiest things that you do in the game. And just having an activation which just, you flub a little bit because you don't have wound rerolls, and then you just don't kill a unit and it gets to swing back, and it's a big problem.
Absolutely.
Also, Forge Fiends at strength 10. So going into T6 bodies, even though Forge Fiends are quite still good at killing Marine bodies, it just means one Forge Fiend just doesn't do enough. You kind of need multiple to really kind of get through T6 Gravis Marines.
Yeah. Now, we'll talk about it probably more in part 2, because there is a way to min-max this, obviously. There is ways to just be like, well, if the less toughness I have on the chassis, the more times this ability is going to trigger. And that is a way of conceptualizing this list. And over in part 2, we're going to write Greenwing lists. We're going to write Deathwing lists. We're going to write a bit of everything lists. I'm going to talk about some of the Ravenwing lists that I think are good with this as well, because, of course, it affects mounted also. But into the enhancements. First off is one of the most forgettable enhancements that I have read in a very long time, Tempered by Battle, which is only 10 points, thank God. While a friendly Adeptus Astartes unit is within 6 of this model, you can reroll Battle Shock and Leadership tests taken for that unit. Whoop-de-frickin-do. Who cares?
I don't know, man. We're going to a Chaos Knight meta. This could be, the stonks could be going up on this one.
Shut up. Because the reason it doesn't hold a candle is because the next 3 are freaking bangers. You want to give us that next one?
That's true. I've got Ancient Weapons. It's an Adeptus Astartes model only. Improve the strength characteristics of melee weapons equipped by the bearer by 2. And improve the armor penetration and damage characteristics of those weapons by 1.
Wow.
What a good enhancement.
It's one of the best damage increasing enhancements of its ilk. There are enhancements out there that are +1 strength, +1 attack. There are enhancements out there that are +1 damage, +1 AP. This is +2 strength, 1 AP, 1 damage. This is nuts.
+2 strength is the best way to hit so many breakpoints, right?
Correct.
Strength 4 to strength 6, or strength 6 to strength 8, 8 to 10. It's just so good.
Where do you find a home for this, or where do you think gets the most value?
Look, pretty much any character which kind of fights good already just gets better with this. But the 3 ones that I really like the most are a Judicia, a regular captain, so it just gets more value out of the finest hour, and also my particular favorite is actually the Gravis captain, because he gets 2 weapons, he gets his fist and also extra attacks, and this will affect both of those weapons.
Yeah, I love it on the Gravis Captain. It's one that I was looking at, and then you brought it up as well. I was like, my man, he's thinking on the same wavelength as me. Because the Gravis Captain will min-max the absolute crap out of this. I actually surprisingly also found I do not mind it on the Raven Wing champ inside the command squad.
True, yeah.
Do not mind it there. All right, next up is Deathwing Assault. Deathwing model only with the Deep Strike ability, which is all of them, apart from Inner Circle Companions. And I guess Blade Company as well. Blade Go Vets.
Blade Go actually wouldn't have a Deep Strike.
Yeah, correct. The Bearers unit can be set up using the Deep Strike ability in the reinforcement step of your first, second, or third movement phase, regardless of any mission rules. So essentially, this just means turn 1 Deep Strike. They don't really need to ever say you can be set up in your first, second, or third. They just need to say first. But this is amazing, and for some reason is only, I believe, 15 points. Yes, it's only 15 points. Wow. Ancient Weapons is 25 also. This is, I'm of the opinion, auto take.
This is a very good enhancement. In some ways, like obviously this is something you probably want to put on Deathwing Knights, because that's probably the best body to be able to turn 1 Deep Strike. Although it would be very cool to see 10 Deathwing Terminators drop down turn 1. It's not something I've really put much thought into just yet. But just like you can do so many janky plays with this, and I'm sure we're going to break it down, a lot of them into part 2.
Man, I wish I could stomach 10 Terminators in a unit.
It's a ballsy decision in this meta.
It is. What's the last one?
Last one is Lord of the Raven Wing. So it's a Raven Wing model only, and you can re-roll advance and charge rolls made for the Bearers unit. And I think this is also 10 points. So correct. It's cheap, and look, it doesn't look like a flashy rule, but man, when you can reliably move so fast with some of these Raven Wing units, it goes hard. Yeah.
Well, a Raven Wing command squad already has +1 advance, +1 charge, and now you have your re-rollable on both of those. You just freaking go. You just go wherever you want. And it's what I love about it is that it just makes walls that little bit less of an impediment, because that's the biggest issue I've found when running big bike armies. They all get in each other's way. There's so many tables where they're just a logistical nightmare. And so anytime you can just free yourself up a little bit, I'm all for it. All right, into the. Sorry, are you feeling like the same as me? I almost want to take all 3 of the last ones: Ancient Weapons, Deathwing Assault, Lord of the Raven Wing. Put them in order of priority for me for where you think people should really look to take them.
I think Ancient Weapons is probably top 1 for me, only because I think there are, no matter what list you're sort of taking, you're going to find a good home for this. So
I totally agree.
I think that's probably the best one, even if it is the most expensive. Secondly is Deathwing Assault, mainly because I think you're definitely always taking Deathwing with this army. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you're probably not going to take Raven Wing, so you may not get a home for the Lord of the Raven Wing. But if you're running a balanced list between the two, I almost think they're on par with each other, to be honest.
Yeah. I have it the same, though. I have Ancient Weapons because it's good in every wing, in every configuration. You're never not going to have a character. Like you said, just a captain with 5 Standguard or 5 Assault Intercessors. Freaking amazing. Amazing. Yeah. So it has a home in every list, whereas Deathwing Assault, Raven Wing, and Lord of the Raven Wing, technically you can take an army where they don't make sense.
Yeah.
All right. First of the stratagems. Inescapable Justice, 2 CP. Any phase just after your Oath of Moment target is destroyed. 1 Adeptus Astartes character unit that is on the battlefield. Select 1 enemy unit within 12 of and visible to your unit. That enemy unit becomes your Oath of Moment target until the start of your next command phase. So 2 CP with some pretty awkward-ish terms and conditions. You'll get to select a new Oath of Moment target if you've already destroyed one. This is one that I don't see myself using kind of ever, but also one that I'm going to, in the most critical of moments, I'm going to be very happy to have. But I just can't see myself having or holding on to 2 CP long enough to do this effectively. What are your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, so in my practice games, this is the one stratagem that I haven't used yet. It has come up, but I've just decided that its value just wasn't sort of there, especially for 2 CP. I think this is really, really good if you've sort of built into more of a shooting variant of the list and you want to sort of shoot and kill one thing and then set up to shoot and kill
Pivot.
another thing.
Yeah.
Or if you want to shoot something dead and then in your charge phase, in your fight phase, you're going to oath a second target which you're going to charge. But a lot of your good combat units already kind of hit on twos. So the rerolls just aren't as valuable.
Yeah. Entirely agree. You want to take away the second one?
Yes, Lion's Will. When in command phase, one Adeptus Astartes unit from your army that is within engagement range of one or more enemy units. And the effect is until the start of your next command phase, add one to the objective control characteristic of models in your unit. In addition, until the end of the turn, if your unit does not have the Deathwing, Ravenwing, or Vehicle keyword, each time a model in your unit makes an attack, add one to the hit roll.
I quite
the second
like this
point
one.
for this one's probably not as big, but the first one I think is very good.
Yeah. So it is just command phase, not yours or your opponent's. You pick your poison. And it's good. It's what you have to be in combat to trigger it. Like it is +1 OC with very heavy on the T's and C's. Because you have to be in combat to trigger it. Where your opponent, if your opponent knows about this, well, they advance onto the objective to flip it rather than charging onto the objective to flip it, so to speak. And they can kind of work around this. But as it sits, I am a huge, huge, huge fan of Hellblasters, and people love tapping my Hellblasters. 1 CP, shoot all my pistols into the combat, and then, have 2 OC on the unit. It sounds all right. It doesn't sound too bad. And there's a couple of other things like Sternguard who don't hate this either. But yeah, have you ended up using this at all?
I have used this, I think, in one of my games. The good thing about this one actually really pairs well with another stratagem in this Detachment, which we'll touch on later.
Yeah.
I think this just gives you it's one of those strats that once you tell your opponent about it, they're very cautious about it. So you don't get to use it as often as you would think that you're going to use it because they can't make certain plays because you have access to +1 OC.
Yep, I like it. All right, next up, Tactical Mastery. 1 CP in your movement phase, 1 Adeptus Astartes unit from your army. Your usual unit is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in turn in which it advanced. If your unit has the Ravenwing keyword, it also is eligible to shoot and declare a charge in turn in which it fell back. So 1 CP, fall back and do whatever you want. If you're Ravenwing, 1 CP, fall back and advance and charge, fall back and charge, do whatever you want. Freaking amazing. And one of the reasons I'm pretty high on Lord of the Ravenwing, because then you'll have a unit of Deathwing Knights with +1 advance, +1 charge, reroll advance, reroll charges, 1 CP advance and charge, and you just go. You just go wherever the F you like. Yeah. And plus, advance and charge is just one of the best possible abilities you could ever have in a game.
Yeah, I think this stratagem is probably the biggest activator for the Detachment.
100%.
If you didn't have it, I really feel like this army would sort of struggle to just have the speed it needs in certain moments to really play the game. But
completely agree.
This gives you that. So I think it's a really important one, and you're going to be using this a lot when you play this army.
All right, next one, which you already alluded to.
Yeah, Relics of the Dark Age. It's in your shooting phase. 1 Adeptus Astartes infantry or mounted unit from your army. And until the end of the phase, add 2 to the strength characteristics of ranged weapons equipped by models in your unit.
Hot.
It's just good. +2 strength is really nice. There's a lot of places where you'll actually find a home for this. The first one being Hellblasters, going from strength 8 to strength 10 makes that unit really good at killing a lot of vehicles. But I also like this on aggressors, getting +2 strength there. It's pretty funny on 10 intercessors as well if you want to go down that route. Just have a bucket of shots from that unit at strength 6.
I also quite like it on Eradicators and Inceptors as well. Eradicators going to strength 11 is a massive breakpoint. Getting them from wounding on 4s or 5s into most, durable tanks to wounding, Vindicators and Lehman Rosses on 4s is quite nice. And then everything else on 3s re-rolling is pretty spicy. Also, like I said, Inceptors going to strength 10 twin links. Yeah, very nice with damage 3.
It's almost like having the +1 to wound oath in some situations if you've oath the target, and then use this strat.
Well, it can be +2 to wound in a bunch of breakpoints,
especially against what Armigers are now T9.
It is +2 to wound versus them because you'd be 5s and then 9s for 4s and 10s for 3s. So it is +2 to wound against Armigers and War Dogs on a strength 8 chassis, on a strength 8 gun. I think it's I think from what I've heard from people playing it, I find it a little underrated. Like people are like being like, oh, I didn't think I was going to love it too much, and then like, oh my god, this thing is absolutely popping off and showing its metal. Yeah, I'm a huge fan. I'm guessing there's going to be more and more like of this coming to the fore. Like we're going to find more and more units to use it. But yeah, as it says right now, I love it on Black Knights, Hellblasters, Eradicators, Inceptors, and dude, I actually really like your idea with the intercessors. Like just 10 intercessors.
Yeah,
It's
it's a lot of shots.
It really at strength 6, dude. Like 40 shots at strength 6 plus the grenade launchers. Yeah, man, that is popping off.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
The other one I'm conceptually thinking about is Sternguard. Like 10 Sternguard with this could be an absolute house.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Even like, look, to be honest, any unit that kind of already shoots good and is infantry or mounted just likes this strat. Like,
yeah,
it just makes you better.
What's the Sternguard ability? Because when they're targeting the unit that has Oath, they get
reroll wounds now.
Oof.
So +2 strength reroll wounds, pretty good.
Yeah, that's really good. So they'll be assault, rapid fire 1, strength 6, 3 shots each.
Yeah.
At 6-1-1.
Well.
Dev wounds, rerolling to hit, rerolling to wound. Yeah, shit. Okay, that's really good.
Yeah,
and then they got their super bolters as well, which is also really cool. Devastating wounds. All right, last of the stratagems, Leonine Aggression for 1 CP. This thing is also a house. It's at the end of your opponent's charge phase is when it's triggered. The target is 1 Adeptus Astartes unit from your army within 3 of 1 or more enemy units, or 1 Deathwing unit from your army within 6 of 1 or more enemy units. The effect is your unit now declares a charge that only targets 1 or more of those enemy units, and you resolve that charge. You don't receive your charge bonuses. But 1 CP, like a unit of Deathwing Knights now defends an objective. You cannot go and flip an objective on Deathwing Knights with 1 unit because they will just charge and kill that unit for 1 CP because you can't step on it. If they're playing in any way good, they've got enough spread on that you can't step on it without being charged. And I mean, even other units like Azrael and 10 Hellblasters absolutely defend an objective versus like 10 Guardsmen every time. Like this is a really good stratagem, but has it come up often for you? Because as soon as people know about this stratagem, they're just not going to try and flip your objectives, which is also a win, but they're not feeding you units.
Yeah, look, I love this stratagem. It's probably my favorite stratagem from the detachment. It's so powerful, obviously, just being able to declare a charge in your opponent's charge phase. It has come up a lot, as you've already alluded to, just the fact that when your opponent knows you have it, it just takes away so much of the table that they can really access to, especially on objectives, right? Like, you can't really walk on this objective if, Deathwing Knights or Inner Circle Companions, name your Deathwing unit. It just means that, this unit's going to get charged and it will die. So that's obviously huge. But I found it does come up because at a certain part of the game, when you've sort of spread out Deathwing units, they start to just run out of available spots where they can just stand, especially on things with big chassis. So like a lot of vehicles, right, by the time they move and pivot around a ruin, they're like, well, I'm actually still within 6 inches, right? So if you're careful with your positioning and you sort of are happy to spread units out a little bit, you can actually just cover more of the table with this 6-inch aura of I'm going to come charge you. So I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think it's incredibly good. And when coupled with stuff like a first turn deep strike, you really just take away pick an objective of your choice. You're going to take it away for a turn or two by just like turn 1 deep striking onto it with like 5 Deathwing Knights. Well, 5 Deathwing Knights in a character. There's not really anyone who's willing to step on that in their movement phase before they've shot at it and done also all the things. So you're just wiping a turn off them. I think it's exceptionally good strat. In fact, the whole package, like the detachment rule, is like an S tier detachment rule as far as detachment rules go. -1 to wound. They have 3 like top tier enhancements. I'm not going to say they're like the best in the game, but they're up there. They're freaking good.
They're very
really good. And then the strats, dude, they've got like everything. So they have the only strat I guess they don't have is a reactive. They don't have a reactive anything.
Yeah,
they don't
exactly.
need it. because this is
God, if this had a reactive move on top of it, like, oh god, playing any kind of combat army into this would be like, it's already miserable, but it would be nightmarish if it had a reactive move.
Yeah, I'm of the opinion you can build you can build a Deathwing centric list that is just absolute melee army cancer, for lack of a better word. Just the worst thing a melee army would ever want to see across the table from it. Yeah. But
yikes.
So the only red herring here is the 2 CP switch the oath, because all the other strats are so good. You have 1 CP plus 1 OC, but it's very situational. But then armor contempt every turn, advance and charge, fall back and do something every turn. 1 CP plus 2 strength to range weapons. If you're not building at least 1 or 2 things in your army that are good use out of that, you're doing it wrong. And then 1 CP, defend yourself from your opponent. Go and charge them. If they just move, they don't need to have charged anything with this strat. If they're just existing within 3 and or 6 inches from you, you just freaking charge them. They don't have to do anything like to let you do this ability. You can just do it if they're within range. And so all your power units have like a 6-inch exclusion zone around them if they're Deathwing, which is amazing power.
It's huge. It means just move blocks aren't a thing.
Yeah, correct. All right, we have absolutely powered through this, so we are going to jump over and have a cursory glance over at the balanced starter slate, and mostly we're just going to talk about the Lion, because the Lion is freaking credible in this detachment. He, of course, won't get the -1 to wound, but that is one of his abilities now. He's just so incredibly crazy good in combat, with his 8 attacks at strength 12, AP 4 damage, lethal hits, or 16 sweeps with sus at a 6-3-2. Now he has his uppy downy ability in your command phase. He also has an aura for melee of reroll ones to hit and wound, and then he has this detachment ability built in as one of his Primarch abilities. He just always has it. Sorry, the Emperor's Shield is just his always has it, which is his -1 toughness. His strength is higher.
Yeah.
So he's just a house in this detachment. What do you reckon?
Yeah. He's amazing. My favorite little combo with him is, of course, look, I love any army that can up you downy, because I'm a Grey Knights player. So already this was like, making me even more excited to play this army, this detachment. But being able to just waiting in deep strike with a unit that has fights first is so cool, just because you can reactively rapid ingress and be ready to heroically intervene into any of the threats that are even willing to go near some of your really durable units. So I love that.
Yeah, I'm so freaking down with what he does, what he's packing. Also, his third ability. Everyone forgets about his third ability, but it's a 6-inch aura of a 4 feel no pain against mortal wounds, which against like T-Suns is actually not bad. When T-Suns just like hammer you with mortals, they're still just like Dev wins the army. All right, dude. So we're actually just going to finish it off there. We don't need to go too deep into this, because we're going to go and talk about over on part 2. So hopefully you'll come and join us there on Patreon. And my dude, so as a budding Dark Angels player, I assume you've read some of their other detachments.
Yes.
Are you in agreement with me that I think this is the best detachment they have access to? It's arguably on par with Gladius as an all-comers. Like, you can build a bit of everything into it. But do you think this is like the best Dark Angels detachment theoretically?
I mean, look, as a very inexperienced Dark Angels player, like, I'd be right now, if I imagine myself like playing against Dark Angels, this is the detachment I least want to see across the table. Yeah. So to me, that kind of says it probably is the best one.
Good. I'm happy you led where I was going, because this is unequivocally, as a Dark Angels expert, this is unequivocally the best detachment they have access to. Yeah. And so the best Dark Angels players in the world wielding this detachment, where do you think Dark Angels rank in the tier list? So A tier, so S tier down to D tier.
All right. Well, look, Marines are already going to probably, B to A tier at the minute anyway. I think a really good Dark Angels player on this is definitely going to be A tier, is my personal opinion.
Yeah. So I have these guys. I have this and Blood Angels as the 2 A+ armies in the game. I think Marines in general I think a loyalist Marines in general are a little bit pushed out of the S tier or the upper S tier, but these guys are just under it. I think these are incredible. Like in teams, Wrath of the Rock is absolutely S tier, absolutely busted in teams, because when you just have the ability to just 15 Deathwing Knights, and we paired around all the damage 3 armies. So we're only playing damage 2 and damage 1 armies. Well, I guess we're invincible.
It's so sad when you're a damage 2 army and you're looking at Deathwing Terminators and you're like, I have to get 8 wounds to kill one of these guys.
Yeah, correct.
And I'm neg 1 to wound. Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, and now you're neg 1 to wound with AOC access. Yeah, dude, it's insanely toxic. The fact that they just gave Deathwing Knights another defensive ability is insane. Absolutely mental. But dude, on that note, no need to pander this out. We're going to go to part 2, talk about some lists, because I have many. And we're going to talk about your list, what you're planning to run in an upcoming Teams event coming up. Unpack that and take it from there. So, dude, thanks very much for coming on. And good luck at the event coming up.
Over all of the expert Dark Angels players that you could have had, you've chosen just an excited newbie. So, very...
mostly because I was selfish. I wanted to for me
to
shine.
Gush over Dark Angels.
I wanted to feel like I was the clever one for once on my damn show. But dude, love you. Take care, guys, and see you on part 2.
Catch you later.
Every time you leave the door, hoping for somebody to interject to take control.